just gonna, I think, go ahead and try to film this, even though the dishwasher is currently going. So if you hear background noise, I'm sorry. So today I wanted to do something a little bit different for this channel. I have actually had this video in my drafts, at least the idea for it, I think longer than pretty much anything else that I've got sitting in my drafts right now. And recently I feel like I've made enough progress in my sustainability journey that it's finally time to actually talk about some of it. So I want to say this past year-ish, I have kind of gotten back into taking sustainability a little bit more seriously. Obviously, I have been raised to care about the environment. I was raised by progressives who just really held the environment in high regard and believed in taking good care of it. You know, like anybody else, I kind of fell on and off the wagon, and once Trump was inaugurated recently, it just kind of got me to a point where I was like, okay, we're not fucking around anymore. It's time to start taking this seriously. And I guess I know that a lot of people have been feeling very bad about the state of environmental protection since the inauguration this January. I thought that I would kind of share some of the sustainable changes I've made in my life that I think have positively impacted my life, and also that I have found to be sustainable habits, as in things that are easy for me to continue doing. Not necessarily just limited to in stuff that I've done in 2025. This is going to be kind of a more extensive list of all the changes that I've made. I'm a firm believer in starting with easy things that also benefit you in other ways besides protecting your own ecological niche. If you take anything away from this video and you literally forget every single one of these swaps or habits as soon as I have talked about it, that is fine. I just want to make sure that people at the very least walk away from this video feeling like they can and should make a difference. I think the number one thing that I want to try to combat is people feeling like they are just one person and so therefore it is hopeless. I think that this is a little bit of a symptom of American individualism brain poisoning, or late capitalist brain poisoning. I understand that everybody wants to be the Superman who fixes everything, but a lot of us are just the little people. We are not Bill Gates. We are not Jeff Bezos. We are the little people, and what we have to do still does make a difference. We couldn't create those very large figures if our actions didn't make a difference. Yeah, the whole "it's hopeless, why even try" thing is in fact a form of climate change denialism. It is a way to basically make sure that you fall into despair and overconsume to cope with it. So don't fall for that. You actually can do quite a lot to help the environment, and Americans have notoriously large carbon footprints. So if you're in America, get on that shit, because you have a disproportionate effect compared to other individuals across the world. Let's talk about the changes. I actually don't know how many I have. I have my list in another tab. So I'm gonna have to pause this regularly to switch over and just see what I've missed. But the first change I think that I ever made in my life in the name of sustainability was the classic, literally just switching to reusable grocery bags. And I used to have much more of a problem with forgetting these than I do now. You actually don't, I know that a lot of grocery stores sell them for you to buy the grocery store brand reusable grocery bag, but you can also just use random shitty tote bags that you get from anywhere. I mean, I feel like lots of corporate events just hand out just kind of tote bags with corporate brand logos on them. You can use those for groceries. I don't know. Because I use reusable grocery bags, it just massively decreases the amount of waste that I produce. And you know, every once in a while when I just get like an unavoidable plastic bag, those can be used as trash can liners. I wish I had tips for like how to remember them. You just like kind of have to force yourself to remember them, if I'm being real. I've tried keeping them in my car. I've tried keeping them in my kitchen. Really, the only way to make yourself remember is to just like get into the habit of remembering them. So I really don't have a problem with totally forgetting them anymore, especially because the grocery store that I normally go to charges you for every bag that they give you. So there's kind of a monetary incentive now for me to remember too. Kind of the area that I've been focusing on in 2025 to really make my life more sustainable has been just like hair care, skin care type stuff, because I just had a moment earlier this year where I was looking at all the products in my bathroom and I was like, this is literally like a miniature landfill. It's just that the products aren't thrown out yet. So I made a ton of changes in how I guess like the products that I bought for just self-care or personal care. I did start just making my own dry shampoo because it is so expensive by me. The only ones that they have in the store, like in any store, are the ones that are like the spray cans, the aerosols that destroy the ozone layer and barely last any time at all, and cost $9 each. That just is not affordable for me. Like, I'm just not gonna spend that money on dry shampoo, especially when it's just air and starch. And then I've found that the ones that aren't aerosolized, it's like you look at the ingredients and it's like, this is just cornstarch. I just started making my own dry shampoo for literal pennies, like not even pennies, and it's been totally fine. I went ahead and took like an old glass spice jar to use as like the container for it and the applicator, because it has those little holes where you can kind of shake it out. And I've used both cornstarch and tapioca starch. Tapioca starch is bomb. And then usually what I do is I will spritz a little bit of a perfume of my choice inside the bottle, and then I'll add the starch in. There are tons of recipes for homemade dry shampoo online that are more complicated than this. But again, part of like how I create sustainable habits is like, it has to be something that I am interested in doing. And part of what makes me interested in doing this is that it saves money for me to buy other more frivolous fun things that I like. And it's so much cheaper and it's lazy. If I was having to buy like 4 different ingredients and ship them to me specially, I like would not be really interested in continuing with this habit in the same way. This is actually one of the first things that I did, is I just switched to floss in a cardboard box. So I used to use one brand that I really liked, but they stopped selling it at the grocery store. And again, I am not buying a $2 box of floss plus $7 shipping on Amazon. I'm just not gonna do that. So I ended up switching brands recently to, not sponsored, to this one. It's, what is this? Radius. It's sponge floss, so it like kind of expands a little bit between your teeth and lets you just get more stuff. In my humble opinion, there is literally no need to have floss in plastic. There just isn't. But for me, I'm not going to ship it specially to me via Amazon, so I just buy whatever is at the store close to me. And yeah, this actually is not 100% biodegradable. I think the floss itself is actually made from nylon, so really not perfect, but you are reducing the plastic by getting it in a cardboard box. So that's the best I can do right now. Another thing that I did, I finally switched to a bamboo toothbrush. I don't know why I put it off for so long, but it's been a perfectly fine switch. There's nothing wrong with it at all. I stopped buying body wash. That one was a little bit sad for me, but I am just kind of at a point where it's like, there is no reason for me to buy soap in like a plastic container if I can get soap in a bar. There just isn't. Like, it's really just useless plastic, and I do feel like there is more variety of body wash to choose from. Like, I feel like the scents are generally stronger and nicer, but I would rather not live in a trash heap, and I'm willing to sacrifice body wash for that. I will still like treat myself to one from Lush or whatever every once in a while. Like, I'm not a purist with this stuff. But I did start just buying bar soaps, and I usually don't get them from the regular grocery store. I get the nice ones from either of the garden store that sells them, or I get them from the same place that I get my floss, the Granola Co-op. And I keep them in upturned seashells in my bathroom to like make it cute. I also keep my bar conditioner in an upturned seashell as well. I know that people have had like mixed experiences with bar shampoo and bar conditioner. Shampoo, I am not ready to make the change yet because like it's very important for me to like preserve a particular texture in my hair. Conditioner is like not something my hair needs a lot of. Like, I can get by on very little conditioner. So I started using High Bar, which it's just a basic solid conditioner. It smells pretty damn nice actually. And yeah, it comes in a cardboard box, really very little waste, affordable as well. So I made that switch, and just, I don't know, I guess I can't really see a super strong reason to go back, maybe once in a while for a little bit of variety, but just like not super necessary to go back. So I did go on kind of a journey when it came to skincare, like specifically moisturizer and cleanser. So before, I used to use like the Burt's Bees Deep Clean Soap Bark and Chamomile Cleanser. But it comes in a tube that Burt's Bees tells you to recycle with TerraCycle, which if you don't know, you have to collect literally hundreds of items for TerraCycle to even have them send you one box to mail them stuff in. And it costs like $200 to send them your recycling. So it's really just, it's basically landfill. And I just was interested in switching. Now, I went through a ton of 100% recyclable or packaging free facial care stuff from Lush. Every single one of them made me break out. None of them worked. I was really getting frustrated with it, and what I ended up doing is that I started getting my skincare stuff from, there's two companies that I have been kind of looking at. One of them I haven't actually tried any products from, but the one that I've been using is called Crave Beauty, and they are, I don't remember if they're carbon positive or carbon neutral, but they are one of those, and they are also plastic neutral. Every single product on their website has a breakdown of what the emissions for it look like compared to average. And they also have recycling instructions for every single part of every single product that they sell. The price range on those things is kind of similar to Lush, which is kind of expensive, but I am also kind of at a point now in my sustainability journey where I have determined that it is better to get fewer things that are much higher quality than to be constantly over consuming just like crap and creating a ton of extra packaging for no reason. So I just kind of splurge on some slightly nicer skincare stuff and have the knowledge that I'm supporting a company that cares about the planet that much. And it is through Crave Beauty and that's how I get my cleanser from them and my moisturizer. And it is through Crave Beauty, actually, that I found out about a recycling service that handles all kinds of like little personal care, self-care things that normally would go to the landfill. It's called Packed, and unlike TerraCycle, you don't have to pay money for it. You just like drop off your stuff. They are brand agnostic, so you can literally drop off, like they say you can drop off any kind of like squeeze tube to them. That includes stuff like Crest toothpaste. And the reason I think that they're open to that is because they basically get, the companies that are involved with them then basically get free materials to package their products with from other companies' waste. So it is kind of like beneficial to them in that way, and I think that's why they are willing to accept stuff from any brand. So that, unlike TerraCycle, is super convenient. They will ship you a box to put all your shit in and mail off to them for free. I mean, I don't use a ton of makeup, y'all know, but like anytime I have like an empty like little makeup container, that goes to them. All of my stuff from Crave Beauty also goes to them. And I know that people are quite skeptical of plastic recycling for good reason. However, I think also as a consumer, it is important to show interest in initiatives like this. And even if only half of it actually gets properly recycled, that is still better than none of it getting properly recycled. So I have been super into that lately. It makes me feel so happy. Another thing that I did, this is my last like just like kind of boring bathroom thing. Aside from like kind of obvious stuff, like I have like a refillable soap dispenser. I don't buy those like plastic ones. My last like kind of like active change that I made is I used to get a single-use face mask from the grocery store every Sunday as like my treat, like my little like Sunday self-care treat. Victor and I sat down and did the math, and I figured out that it actually was cheaper for me per face mask to buy like larger containers of Lush face masks than to buy the single-use ones from the grocery store. So I have just been going to Lush for all of my face masks. This doesn't work if you use the like fresh ones that you have to use in 2 weeks. I have been getting the self-preserving ones, and those easily last 4 weeks. So if you do your scheme where you bring them back and like get a free fresh face mask, it basically comes out to like more than a full $1 less per face mask than the single-use ones I was using at the grocery store. I think it takes, so the way that it works out for me is like, if you want it to be cheaper, you get 4 self-preserving ones and 1 of the like nicer ones that go in your fridge. And then when you get your free one, you also get, of course, one of the nicer ones that go in your fridge. When you actually do all the math for that, and trust us, we spent a lot of time on that math, it actually works out to being way less money per week than if you actually buy a single-use face mask from the grocery store. The ones I was getting from the grocery store were $3.99. So if you want to like try to do the math yourself, then you can. Part of what we did is try to figure out how many of the nice like refrigerator ones that I could get before it started being more expensive, and I'm allowed to get one full price. Yeah, that was the other beauty change I made. I know that's like a lot of skincare, self-care stuff, but I don't know. I suffer from a little bit of princess syndrome when it comes to stuff like that. But at the same time, I think it's really important to like try to consume responsibly so that there isn't this like dark underbelly to your consumption. And again, some of it is more expensive. Like the moisturizer that I get is, I think it's like $30 something. I actually am thinking I'm probably gonna get, they have a thing where you can get multiple refills of it for like $60. And I think I might just invest in that so that I can just like have it be cheaper in the long run, but we'll see. So those are the changes that I made there. Another change, and this is not a bathroom change, it's a kitchen change. We basically don't use paper towels anymore. And I haven't used paper towels really since I was 22. I think maybe even earlier. What I mean by that is I basically switched to just using reusable rags. We do keep paper towels around for like kind of gross stuff. Like for like bathroom cleaning, we use paper towels, and if we have to like squash a roach or something like that, then that also is a paper towel job. I don't even know that we go through 6 rolls a year. I mean, it's even like significantly less than that. And again, like all that we do basically is whenever one of us has just like a t-shirt, or I've even torn up like dresses before, if they're made of the correct material. Whenever we have just like a piece of clothing that's made of cotton or some other natural fiber that just is like a disaster and it's time for it to go, and realistically speaking, no one is gonna buy it at the thrift store, we just tear it up into pieces to use as rags. And we use those for everything. For dusting, for wiping down the countertops, we use them as napkins, and we have so many of them. It really is like not hard at all to feel like you have enough of them. Another change, I don't buy clothes made with polyester anymore. I want to say is probably one of the most difficult and time-consuming things on this entire list, because fucking everything is made with polyester now. Everybody is wearing fake clothes, and I have reached a point where I have surrendered and I have just started buying my clothes literally from just like random people who make clothes on Etsy. Like I bought a skirt recently that was literally just like a long linen skirt just made by some random woman who makes them in Lithuania, because I've had it up to here. Like, and the reason that I don't buy clothes made with polyester is because they shed microplastics, and they're really bad for just like the water and for the whole microplastic problem in that way, so I don't. And then speaking of microplastics, I also switched to using laundry sheets instead of Tide Pods. So for a while, I did make my own laundry detergent, but there is a really heavy upfront cost with that, because you have to buy borax and washing soda and Castile soap, and that's like just kind of a lot up front. So, but recently I was at the grocery store and I saw that they had laundry detergent that was in just like sheet form. It was per wash cheaper than the Tide Pods, and it just came in like a yellow cardboard box. So I said, fuck it, and I just bought some, and I tried it, and it works perfectly fine. So Victor and I are using those now. The ones that I use are from a brand called Proofed. I don't know that that's better than other brands doing the same thing. To be honest, I bought it because it was affordable, and because it was in my grocery store. Oh, this is another like thing, is like if you have to go to Whole Foods for sustainable stuff, you have to go to Whole Foods for sustainable stuff. I do that for my bamboo toothbrushes. And I know we don't want to support Amazon, but it also is kind of like, I think that there is something to be said about being able to go somewhere in person and purchase something to keep the cost down. And I mean, if you can go to Whole Foods and get your cardboard floss and your bamboo toothbrush and your whatever all at the same time, like, I think there is something to be said for that, because if you have to order it online, the shipping just makes it so much more prohibitively expensive, and I totally hear people when they're complaining about that. So I think that finding the granola places near you, even if that is only Whole Foods, is important, because it's better for you to get a bamboo toothbrush from Whole Foods than like not get one at all. I also do not use like dryer sheets for the dryer. I just use the I don't even know what they're called, dryer balls. I use wool dryer balls, and that also has just never really been a problem. I also air dry clothes where I can. Yeah, the other thing that I will mention about me saying I don't buy clothes made of polyester, first of all, that includes things that are secondhand because they're still gonna shed, even if you're not technically fueling market demand for polyester clothes. The other thing is, I know other people are very strict about buying things secondhand, and I support you and I salute you. I think that that is amazing. Me personally, the secondhand shopping close to me is literally like people throw rags at you. Like, the stuff in the secondhand shops is just really not wearable at all. So I kind of am more at a point now where I save up for high quality pieces, often made by people who are, or companies or people who are at least trying to do some level of sustainable stuff, rather than buying things secondhand. Because what was happening is I would try to secondhand shop online for more variety, and then like there would just be so many things that I would have to return. Like, I tried doing ThreadUp, it was a giant scam. I hated it. And then when I do have clothing that I actually like, I mend. So when things get a hole, I don't like immediately get rid of it. I actually do like mend my clothes when they get holes. I had a favorite pair of shorts get a hole in them recently, and I literally just sewed it. I also, this isn't really a sustainability thing for me. This is more of a so I can buy more books thing, but I also just buy all my books used. The only time I will ever buy a book new is if I literally can't get it used. So I do totally support people who want all new books, because I think there needs to be demand created for the publishing industry. But Victor and I actually do save our like special recyclables, and we do drive them to the recycling center. If we have aerosol cans, like, we do clean them out properly and actually bring them to the recycling center. It's just like, I feel like it's just one of those things that's like the right thing to do. So we do that. Oh yeah, Victor and I also recently tried stasher bags, which I have tried other Ziploc bag alternatives. And the closest that I have ever got to feeling really satisfied was with glass Tupperware containers. Those are quite nice, and I have a few of them. But they are heavy and cumbersome, and they don't really quite do the exact same thing as a Ziploc bag does. Stasher bags? Expensive. I think it's like, how much did we pay for ours? I think it was like $50 for two. They're amazing so far. We have had them for many weeks now, and I can confidently say that if you're going to start kind of replacing using reusable Ziploc using non-reusable Ziploc bags, start with stasher bags. They can go in the oven up to a certain temperature. You can pour boiling water in them. They can go in the freezer, they can go in the dishwasher. You can literally beat the shit out of them, and they're not gonna turn gross. I really, really like them, and frankly, like, this is kind of an endorsement of other reusable silicone things too. They also have reusable cling wrap that they sell. I haven't tried it yet, but dope if true. Let me know if you actually have tried it, because we kind of have our eyes on that a little bit. Yeah, the number one thing that is just bellissimo about them is that they do not get gross when you put them in the dishwasher. That is my number fucking one thing that's like, listen, I am not going to awkwardly scrub this in the sink. Like, I'm just fucking not. So being able to just chuck something in the dishwasher and have it come out clean and ready to use again is magnificent. And I know there are people who like wash out individual Ziplocs, but stasher bags are better because you can put them in the dishwasher so they truly get sterilized. So if you are putting raw meat or something in there, then like it actually is getting properly sterilized. We do also try to like reuse the Ziplocs that we do use, just for, you know, because why not? Especially if you don't really have very much in there. All right, this is another one that is kind of also just like a huge way to save money, which if you think about it, we do already save quite a bit of money by just not constantly having to buy paper towels or Ziplocs anymore. I just kind of like make a lot of ingredients at home. That may seem like, well, how is that like a sustainability thing? Two things. First, it reduces food waste. So for example, if I'm like already in the kitchen making lunch and there's some bread that I know I'm not gonna get to in the next 2 days, I will just go ahead and throw that bread in the oven with some olive oil and salt and pepper and like really like completely dry it out, and then I'll just crush it up in my food processor and have that be like a stash of breadcrumbs for the next time I need to bread something. And that way it like gets a second life, and then next time I need breadcrumbs, I don't have to go out and buy breadcrumbs in one of those plastic bags that has the tin foil shiny stuff on the inside. Like I don't have to do that. And honestly, like a lot of it is just like mostly to reduce my grocery bill so that I'm not spending $110 every single week. Like if I just know something is gonna go bad, I will make sure that I like throw it in the freezer so that I can stash it away for later. Like vegetables, like if I have broccoli or green beans or something, those just get cut up and put in the freezer so I can throw them into a stir fry sometime. It is like kind of a massive pain in the ass, but groceries are getting so obscenely expensive that I reach a point where I'm like, I'm not gonna spend $8 on granola. Like it is a giant pain to have to like do the whole thing and like make granola at home. What I'm trying to say is sometimes you just like kind of have to DIY stuff at home a little bit, and it's good for the planet. It saves food waste. It saves packaging waste, and it also makes it so that you're not your grocery store's little bitch. Okay, and then let's see, another thing. Oh, another repurposing thing. So unfortunately at this apartment that we're at, we do still have to use like those giant plastic shower curtains. What I have done is when we need to replace those, I just give mine a second life as like a tarp to use for gardening, because like, yeah, it's like a gross old shower curtain, but if it's gonna be covered with soil anyway, when I'm like gardening, I'm always out on the balcony, and there are like gaps between the boards on our balcony, and I just don't want there to be dirt falling down onto the balcony underneath us. And also, we also have a rug out there, and I don't want dirt on the rug. So I just spread one of those out and use it as a tarp and like keep the soil from going everywhere. That's just like a second life for a piece of plastic, like that'll eventually get thrown away, but it's one less thing that you have to buy a second giant tarp for. Presumably, if you have like any kind of really dirty job that you just need like a just a whatever piece of plastic for, you can use that for that. I pretty much never, knock on wood, replace my electronics. I'm kind of ride or die for every piece of technology that I own. I think it's really wasteful to just like constantly be replacing your technology for the latest and greatest. You know, I mean, they keep making technology worse, so maybe not quite latest and greatest. Yeah, I just really don't do that replacing or like updating tech thing. And I guess that brings me into another thing, is like having gratitude for what I have instead of constantly looking for other things to buy to fill the void. I think there's a lot of times when maybe we could all stand to ask ourselves, like, do I really need to be buying something right now, or should I just be like appreciating what I actually already have more? I am kind of starting to prioritize sentiment over aesthetics. Now, what I mean by that is I am a sucker for a little trinket. When you go to like Home Goods and you're constantly buying just like cute little trinkets because they're cute or clever, you're still like kind of just like filling your house with like decoration spam a little bit. So I'm trying to now limit myself to getting trinkets from like places, like novel places that I have been. You know, if I am like traveling, then that is a good place for me to like buy something memorable for my house. Or if I feel really, really inspired by a piece that I see, then I get it. And always from like small businesses or specialty shops. I don't buy like cute, clever things or whatever at like Target or Home Goods or anything like that. I don't try to make my whole entire life into a cohesive aesthetic. What instead I try to do is fill my life with objects that have character and that are meaningful to me. Because I think if you're just like constantly buying trinkets, it starts to actually feel like really, really aggravating and kind of just like you feel like you're surrounded with just too much stuff that's like competing for your attention. So yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of other things that I'm kind of forgetting about. I mean, you know, like I do have a car that's like reasonably fuel efficient and knock on wood, reliable. Victor and I both have every intention of getting solar panels at some point, you know, doing the whole hog with having a compost heap and planting native plants, which I already do some of. These are, I think, the things that are just most immediately coming to mind as the sustainable changes that I have made that have not only benefited the world around me, but also have benefited me. And I think that that is part of what you can take away from this is when you're making sustainable changes, they should not just be sustainable for the environment. They should also be sustainable for you. And you should want to do them because not only of helping the world, but also of like helping yourself. My kind of like, I know it's like a spectrum to like, from like massively inconveniencing yourself to, you know, like this is literally benefiting me in other ways besides helping the environment. In terms of like just getting started with sustainability, aim for from this is a neutral switch to this is actively benefiting me. Because once you've started making changes like that, you will feel energized to start making the more difficult changes and starting to like go out of your way for the environment more. That is all I have for you today. I hope you liked this video. I hope you all are doing all right. Let me know if you have other sexy little sustainable swaps that you have made in your life recently. And I will see you in the next video, I guess. Bye.